Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is SAP Analytics for Cloud Learning series, and today I have come up with a new topic, that is how you can do data validation in the planning model using the validation rules. Okay, so we have a feature in planning called as a validation rules, which we can use for preventing data input for the invalid combinations, and we can derive related members based on the attribute values in the dimension. And with the validation rules in the stories, the planners can get the warnings, okay, in this cell you cannot input a value because this is not a valid combination. So this validation rules is basically used to prevent unwanted member combination data. Let's move ahead. I will demo today how you can create validation rules in SAC. First, you have to enable validation rules in the model. Then there are two different types of validation rules. Okay, first is validation rule with the existing attributes, and second is validation rule with the members. So these are different types with which you can create validation rules. I will demo you and you will understand how they are different and what's the basic concept of that. Okay, and before you create validation rules, there are some points and restrictions you must note down. First of all, to use a validation rule, you must have a planning professional license, and a validation rule create update permission in the roles. Okay, and you can enable validation rule only in the planning model, and you can create three rules for one model, and you can define three dimensions in a one rule. Okay, and you can use the same public dimension into different 10 rules. Like I have 5 models, and then each model I can use that public dimension table, but one public dimension table can be used in a like 10 different rules. Okay, and we cannot use the dimensions like version and date in the rule combination. Okay, version and date, these dimensions aren't available. We cannot use them while creating any validation rule, and we cannot use any system properties. Okay, like formula properties, read write properties, or the scaling property. These are the system properties that are added when you create any dimension like account dimension. Then there are some system properties added. We cannot use them. We can only use the custom attributes or properties that we add into any dimension. Okay, and it's very important, like when you are using the validation rule with the existing attributes, the master data maintenance should be very accurate. Like whatever attributes you are adding in the master data, they are mapped correctly. So it's very important that the master data is maintained rightly. If you are new to this, you don't know the concept of validation rule, so it might sound little bit strange, or something new, but once you create one validation rule, you will understand these points, like okay, what that mean. Okay, so let's continue with the demo. Just keep these restrictions and points in mind. Let's continue with the demo in the tenant. Yeah, so let's continue with the demo. As you can see, I have already logged into the system. Before we continue, like how you can create the validation rules, and I'll show you how you enable it and different types of validation rule. It is important that we understand why and where the validation rules will be useful. Understanding the business use case will be very important. In that case only, you will be able to use the right features in the right situations. If you don't know why, then it's no point. You already know how to create them. So let's understand some examples. I already created a normal story where I have some company, then the country data, and amount actuals and all the versions. Now in this table, in this model, I don't have any data, so I am allowing business to input the data, against each company showing the different locations, and they can input the values. Okay. Now in this case, if I look at the table builder, I have enabled the unbooked data. So when you enable unbooked data in planning table, it's always going to be many to many combinations. Like for a one company, all the country data available, the master data available in your public dimension. So for suppose country 2000, it will create the placeholder for all the cities available in your master data. So this is how it works in SAC. Now if I look at the use case, the first company is from China. So uh, the user shouldn't be inputting against all the cities, okay, because one company will have only one location or maybe two locations. But here everything is, I can input against the Paris also, against the company too, because there is no any validation here, because there are no any valid combinations we have set here. So for these use cases, then the validation rule come in place to restrict user from being inputting data against Paris or any other location. I should be inputting data against only the Shenzhen location, which is the location for this company. uh, in the stories also you can achieve without creating any validation rule. It's like by simply I can I'll just select the Paris, right click, and hide row. So the first option is obviously I can hide the rows, whatever I think the user shouldn't be inputting the values. But hide row is not a sustainable and reliable solution. Because suppose while inputting the data, the user by mistake unhides the row, then the row will be visible and there is a chance he might input the data. And now like I have a suppose I have 100 cities, then hiding the 100 rows, not a feasible option. And suppose the master data is going to change, and if a new city comes, city data is loaded, then obviously that will be shown in the table because we manually added few rows. So suppose there are new cities added in the master data, then again we have to adjust our stories. So every time there will be a maintenance work to adjust the stories, to hide unhide the rows. So this is not a feasible solution. So then we move to the validation rule. So this is the example where you allow users to input only data into the valid combination of the dimensions, and those cells will be enabled for the input. Other cells you know are not allowed to input the data. Now how you can achieve this? So today I will show you how you can enable validation rules in model. And then the first type of validation rule, that is with members. Okay, now let's go to the model. I'll just save this if I did any changes. Okay, so now I'll go to the model. So this is my model validation rules. Is the same model which I have been doing the tutorials for, the previous videos. I used this model for uh, doing the tutorial on planning model. First of all, validation rules can only be enabled in planning model. Okay, it has to be a planning model. Now, suppose under the models, I have the other analytic model also. I'll open one analytic model and I'll go to the general tab, then settings, under that access and privacy, under that security. This is the validation rule. So you can see currently it's grayed out. That means I cannot use this feature. Similarly, data locking also is grayed out. So validation rules, or it might be data locking, it's only applicable in case of planning model. So I'll just close this analytical model. I'll again go to the models. Now I will open the planning model. So this is my planning model, as you can see. Again, I'll go to the general tab. And before you enable it, in the workspace, you will see you have only three options like model structure, calculations, and data management. Okay. Just note this, and you will see a difference when I enable the validation rule. Okay. Now, same model settings, access and privacy, under the security, you just check this validation rules. And now you can see, now I can check this, I can turn this on because this is a planning model. I'll click OK. So now I'll save this changes what I did. I enabled the validation rules in my model. Under the settings also you will see like validation rules are on. Now again I'll go to the workspace. Then a new option will be added like validation rules, from where you can access the validation rules designer. Okay, I'll click on this. Uh, Now this is a validation rules panel where you will be creating different rules. Okay, now on the right side, like on the details, you will see create a new rule. uh, Obviously I just enabled it, so there are no any existing rules, so I can create a new rule, and once I create a new rule, all existing rules will be visible here. Okay, and suppose you created a model and you loaded some dummy data and sample data, and you didn't had any thought of considering the valid combinations, and you just loaded the dumb data. And when you are trying to create a validation rule, then please delete the dummy and sample data. And if you know, okay, you loaded the data with the right and valid combinations, then you can create the rule, and there is a no problem. But now I deleted the data from my model because I was not sure if I created, loaded the data with the right combinations. Okay. So now I will click create a new rule. The first option is create with members. Then the second option is create with existing attributes. Today I am going to go with the first type, that is create with members. I will click create with members. Then the first thing is you have to name the rule. So I'll name the rule members company underscore country or location. Okay, so this is my rule name. Then obviously I'm going to activate rule. You can create a rule and you can disable this activate rule. That means the rule will not be activated on, it's not applicable yet. You just created the rules, and once you activate it, that means now it's on, and your rule is applied on your model, and then in while inputting, that rule is in action or is in execution. Okay, then the member separator will be as, I'll keep just comma, then dimension. So first I have to add the dimension. My first dimension is company. Then the second dimension which I need for the valid combination is obviously my country. So currently I'm only creating a rule focusing on two dimensions because my scenario is based on only this two dimensions. If you have one more dimension in in your use case, then you can add the other dimension clicking on this plus icon. Now currently we are creating a rule where we are working with members. So now we have to select the members and add into the dimension. So I'll click on that model icon. Then I'll select the company to China. Okay. So when the company to is China, then what should be the location? Okay. And in the public dimension company, I have maintained, what should be the location of each company. So we'll just follow this, and even I can, copy this also and paste it here. It will take a lot. This is I have added. I'll just save this rule. I'm going to activate this rule also. So now my rule is created. So you have to add the valid members against that combination. Okay, company 2 and Chengdu. If this combination there, then the user should be able to input the data. If not, then uh, the table shouldn't allow any data entry. Okay, if company 1 Sweden, then only Gothenburg, that cell should be editable. Otherwise, all cells should be non-editable. Now let's check this rule on the story. Okay, now let's check, how this validation rules work in story. I'll just open the story, and uh, if I look at the validation rules that I set for the company to, I can only input value against the Chengdu. So let me check. I'll try to input something against the Beijing. I'm trying to click, but it's frozen. I'm not able to. Similarly for Shenzhen 9, for the other cities, I'm not able to, input the value. So if I input against the Chengdu, I'm able to input. So this is how the validation rule works. So I'll just, publish the data. So now if you look at my story, the background is very dark and I'm not able to see which cell is editable, non-editable. Then you can enable some features in the table. Just go to the table, then table, and this right panel, open the right panel under the styling, and under the table properties, color field for editable cells. This helps in distinguish between which are the editable cells, which are the non-editable cells. So I'll choose this color. I will save my story, and then at least the user or the planner will be able to understand, okay, this is the only cell where I can input the values and the other cells I cannot. Now the planner also must aware, okay, why I'm not able to input against these cells. Okay, then there is another feature which can be used. I'll just select the table. Oh, three dots. Okay, wait, I will save, and I need those table three dots. Oh, this is sometimes very painful. Okay, now the three dots are there. And when you select the three dots, then you will see show or hide. Under that show or hide, there is an option reason for unplanned data. Click on that, enable that reason for unplanned data, then save your story. So basically the reason for unplanned data, nothing but the system will show, the warning for the user, okay, why you are not able to input the data against a specific cell. I'll show you how that works. Now go into the view mode, and okay, now if I try to input against Beijing, then I can see a warning or a notification, system is showing. Locked by a validation rule. You cannot enter the data in this cell due to a validation rule defined for the underlying data model. To enable data entry, please contact your planning modeler to adjust the validation rules for this model. So if you enable this, the planner will be able to understand, okay, why I'm not able to, enter into this cell. Now for company 2, I can only, input against Chengdu. If I try to input against other cell, I get that notification. Now let's just check any other company. Let me scroll down. So it's India. And for India, I can input against only Bangalore. So let me scroll down. So if I scroll down, so now you can see against Bangalore only. This is a editable cell where I can, edit the values, and I'll input some value. Oh, okay, I'm doing it in edit mode only. Let me go to the view mode. Okay, I'll go to the India Bangalore. Okay, I'll just publish data. Okay, then I will try to input against Shenzhen, some 9,000, enter, and I will publish the data. Because I'm doing enter, so it showed me the error. I'll input again in this cell 6,000, and I'll just click on another other cell. So you see the notification is not coming. It's just because I clicked enter, so it thought it went on next cell, and we were getting that notification. Okay, for Digitech it was Shenzhen. For Digitech it was Shenzhen. So this is how the validation rules, uh, you know, work in the SAC model. Uh, Now, this rule is very, feasible when you have a very static kind of a data. Like, because if you look at this member combination, it's almost like we hard coded the values. Okay, for company 2, Chengdu will be the location. So this rule with the members works when you have a very static data which is not changing often. Okay, but you have a very dynamic kind of a data where the behind master data always changes. Like company to China now has the location Chengdu. It might be other location. Then you have to again edit your validation rule and adjust the members. Okay, for which company, what is the new location. So again there is a maintenance task. Now where it's the members are timely changing, then you can go with the second rule, that is create a rule with the existing attributes. We will have a tutorial and demo in the next part of this video. Uh, and if you like this content, please like my video. uh, and please mention in comments, how do you find this video. It really motivates me. And please share this videos in within your friends and the professional community colleagues, if they are eager to learn SAC. And please subscribe to my channel, so you are aware when my channel I'm releasing a new content related to this SAP Analytics Cloud learning series. Stay tuned for the next part. Thank you.